Start from the top?
Yeah.
It was Vietnam, and they had the draft on back then. You're probably a little young to remember all that was going on. The protests at Kent State and everywhere else about Vietnam and why we were even there. But anyway, that was going on. They had the draft, and so I was 1 year over, and my number was 41, so it was a done deal. I was going to be drafted. I was working with, says, you got to look at Special Forces. So I looked into it. I thought, yeah, that'd be great. Jump out of airplanes and do crazy things that they do. They had a scuba diving unit or a squad, and so I was young and enthusiastic and crazy, and so I jumped into the Special Forces part of it. So I had a lot of opportunities to visit other countries and see how they live and how their governments work. Now they have a lot of freedoms and a lot of rights in those countries, but none of them equal what you have in the United States of America. They have a system, that's a government that's modeled after what we have, but it doesn't quite come up to what we have. They don't have the election systems like we have, and there's still some royalty mixed in there in some countries, and who leads them, and some are somewhat of an election, and it's a mix. They don't have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights like we have, so you begin to appreciate what you have here in the United States of America, and the freedoms we have, and the opportunities, and the troubles we have. But the troubles we have are what you and I or others might call troubles, or are because we have those freedoms. We can speak our minds, we can protest peacefully, we can march against the government or against some principle, and a lot of countries you can't do that. And the flag represents that as our freedoms. It's a symbol to all of us, those who are even against the government or against a form of government, and those that are totally in favor of it, because that, once again, it comes back to it's a representation of this form of government that we have, and the freedoms and opportunities that we have here. Kind of drives the point home that we have so much here. And so many of us, I don't think, really appreciate what we have here. Being a symbol of our rights and our freedoms, I think it needs to have utmost respect. And, we have the opportunity to fly it if we want in our yard, or not fly it. Mm-hmm. Most public buildings fly the flag. And it should be flown properly. When it gets a little tattered and beat up, it should be either pulled down and cleaned, or usually it's time to replace it because it's just wind blowing and starting to disintegrate, especially the ends, the frays, and the seams are beginning to unravel a little bit, so it's time to pull it down and replace it, or at least repair it and put it back up. And then I think teaching the scouts and the young women about flag etiquette, how to fold it, how to take care of it, how to dispose of it when it's that time. And we shouldn't just retire a flag by throwing it in the closet or throwing it on the floor and eventually it goes in the trash can. We're told that it should be burned whenever possible, and that burning ceremony doesn't have to be an elaborate ceremony. Sometimes the scouts will make a big ceremony out, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine and acceptable. But you can just be as simple as what I've done with the scouts or the girls, and that's just burn it in a very respectful manner. And it's probably a good time to reflect when you do that upon the symbol of the flag and the meaning, what it means to us as individuals. And for some, more my age than your age, you know, those who've lost their lives for the flag and the freedoms and opportunities that we enjoy because they've been usually in a foreign land defending those freedoms and opportunities, or trying to make sure that another country enjoys at least some of those freedoms and opportunities. That's why we are in some of the countries we are, why we get involved in the conflicts, because we're trying to make sure people have some rights and some freedoms in those countries. But that's what the flag represents to me.